Welcome back, you lovely lot. This is our walk around video, the first of 3 for our sale at Manor Park Classics for the Saturday 9th of December sale. And you're clever, and you've liked and subscribed and you've rung that bell, and you're getting this on Wednesday, which means you've got all these days to check these lots out, get your finance quote from Fast and Funded, get your insurance quote from Haggerty, and then you're ready to roll for the big day. But before I start, remember, if you're consigning a car or bike on Saturday, or if you're buying one, every single one of you goes into a prize draw, and we're going to draw at random one of you. So, you know, this is one in hundreds of chances, not thousands or tens of thousands, and somebody is going to win this Harley Davidson. And all you have to do is have consigned a lot or buy a lot, and that's trade or retail. We don't mind if you're one of our lovely trade customers. You're going in the pot as well. We're going to draw one out, and for Christmas, one of you is having a Harley, so that's a great way to start. Now, as it is Christmas, we need to look at our toy corner, so come with me. Santa's come early to Manor Park Classics. Imagine waking up Christmas morning and this was under the tree. So we've got some fun. These are all of our fun lots. These are all for sale. A lot of these are very collectible, very desirable. And in a 9-year-old me, if I'd have had any of these in the 70s or 80s, I would have popped, basically. So come. We're going to start with this chopper. All good things come from Nottingham, we know that. Early Mark 1 chopper with a T-shifter, which is the one you want. These are just phenomenal things. Everybody knows the story of the chopper. Little mini Peter Fonda machine, easy rider, made in Nottingham by Raleigh, just wonderful. A true icon, very collectible, and everybody wants the Mark 1 because that's the one. Really nice restoration, beautiful condition. Got the right chain wheel, which is very important. If you look, it's got the stamped chain wheel, which often gets lost. These were 32 quid when they were new. Today you're going to spend a bit more. That one's going to be somewhere between £1,000 and £1,500, but isn't it cool? Another very cool thing, the Austin J40, everybody knows, made from the offcuts of bits of cars from Longbridge. They were fashioned into little wonderful pedal cars. And because of that, no two are the same. Everyone's slightly different, slightly individual. This one's very lovely, older restoration I'd say. And that you could buy for somewhere between £2,000 and £3,000, but pressed steel bodywork. It's got the dummy engine under those lights, I won't move them. It's got the chrome bumpers, it's in fantastic condition. You can buy these new still now. They are so expensive, so expensive. 2 to 3 grand would take that one home. Moving to the back wall, lot 29. This is a 1950s Schwinn Cruiser. Schwinn bikes are really iconic, particularly the west coast of America. If you look at any great old 50s film or recreation of a 50s film, they're riding Schwinns. They are the bike of west coast America, and very, very beautiful. And again, very, very collectible. Original tacit bar grips on this one. Got balloon tyres correctly, lovely bright work on there. Come from a bicycle museum, of all things. And it's got the coaster brakes, you've got a back pedal coaster brake on that. Somewhere between 500 or 800 quid would buy you that. Moving on to this little fella down here, this lovely 1986 Yamaha YSR 80. Pocket rocket, basically, proper miniature motorbike. Recent restoration with a full engine rebuild. It's been perfectly painted as well, and recently serviced, carb overhauled. Just a mega thing. That would be 3 to 3.5 grand. Wonderful for a bike collector, if you're a biker with a junior in your family that just wants to have something nice to ride, or a collector's piece, whatever you want it to be. That would make a great Christmas present for somebody. Moving on to the back wall, this is just mega. Now, we don't know who's made this. If you do know, please leave us in the comments. But this is a miniature 1990 Ferrari F1. So you're talking in the Mansell era. This has got a Honda GX110 electronic ignition 3.5 horsepower engine in this, fiberglass and aluminium bodywork, steel chassis. It's incredibly well engineered, not quite to F1 standards, but this is not your average kid's toy. Very collectible. If you're an F1 collector, if you're a Ferrari fan, you need to have this in your collection. It's beautifully done and reasonably quick as well. Pneumatic tyres. We've got some video of this on the website if you want to see how this runs. It does run, drive, all of the above. So if you've got someone in your family that's a budding racing driver, that's a great thing to buy. Or if you just want a mad thing for your collection. 2 to 3 grand should buy you that. Moving down to one of the coolest things I've ever seen. If you're a Caterham or Lotus 7 enthusiast, look at this. Look at the work that's gone into this. This is a full custom. Now, if you're a Caterham dealer, or if you're one of the many great kit car people out there, like GBS or AK or anyone like that, you want this in your showroom. So fully custom by a retired engineer, and it's steel, fiberglass and wood that's made the construction of this. 24 volt electrics as well, with full accelerator and brake. Just look at the quality of the work. As good as it looks on camera, guys, it is in real life. Full electric, loads of fun, get the kids tazzing around. We would like to see somewhere between 1,500 and 2 grand for that. But what a thing, and no one else has got one because it's a complete one-off. absolutely adore that. Bit of fun. And then finally, look at the finish and condition of this. Another Schwinn Cruiser Deluxe 7. This has been a museum exhibit, and you can see why. It is gorgeous, and the colour, it's very much like the old Jag F1 green, this. It's a new old stock bike. This is the equivalent of you going back in time and finding this bike. It has never been used, never been ridden. 26-inch wheel on this one. Just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Again, because of the condition, I cannot stress enough, it is like new. Somewhere between 800 and 1,200 pounds would buy you that. So there you go. That's our Christmas toy box corner. If you haven't quite got room for a car, what's crazy about some of these lots is they are as much as some of the cars we've got for sale today. But if you haven't quite got room for a car, or you collect fun stuff, or if you're very generous and you've got kids in your life that might like that, come and have a bid on those. So anyway, on with the cars. That's the fun stuff. On with the very serious business of classic cars, which isn't that serious. This is very cool. You may have seen a wonderful television program on the television called Wheeler Dealers. We love it dearly with Mike and Elvis. This is a Wheeler Dealers restoration, and it's exceptionally good. This is a 69 Lotus Europa S2, a very nice example of one, and this was restored on the show. It is in season 17, episode 18, if you want to pull it up on your Discovery Plus and watch it. Do watch the episode. The thing about Wheeler Dealers is, particularly with these later series, the guys go into such detail. They're not TV makeovers, they're not TV lash-ups, they're proper restorations. And if you look at everything on this car, from the quality of the paintwork to the way it's been set up, this was set up by an ex-Formula 1 engineer, fully corner weighted. Just lovely. Have a look inside. Mike and the boys did a lovely job of this. They don't come up for sale very often, Europas. They didn't make that many, and you really don't see them in that kind of condition. So it's got a replacement Spider chassis, it's got removable sports wheel, which makes it a little bit easier to get into. Wheels and tyres. Watch the episode, it's Mike and Elvis. So it's quite a recent restoration, this one. And speaking as a TV insider, on the later series, they had a lot more budget, so the cars were done to a really, really high standard. So that's a great car in a very nice colourway, in that lovely racing green with yellow stripe, with Norfolk mustard stripe. Beautiful. You could buy that between 22 and 24,000. Have a look, there's a lot of history, but if you can, we've put a link to the episode on the site, or treat yourself to Discovery Plus, watch the whole episode. You'll probably find there's a hooky version of it on YouTube, but I never told you that. Over here, this is a car that's come in again. We would love to find this car a home because the owners are so lovely for it. This car's had a lot of money spent on it. 1979 Chevrolet Corvette, multiple award winner, multiple show winner. It's got the desirable L82 code. It's a very good one to have. Just tens of thousands. I cannot stress enough, guys, how much money has been spent on this car. Do have a look inside. If you look, there are just some of the trophies this car has won. Basically, every time it went out of the house to a show, it won something. So that gives you some idea of how much money has been spent on the paintwork. It's a no questions car. The paintwork is flawless, the engine is flawless. The wheels are very individual. I think they're very much of a time. To me, if this was my car, to make it perfect, I would put the original slots back on, and you would have a stunning L82 because the quality of the work that's been done is exceptional. What else can I tell you? As I say, just only 7,000 miles since the brand new engine, and the engine bills with this car. If you're seriously considering a Corvette, please get the guys to pull the file for you. Don't forget, if Elliot does a little spin round for you now, that wall there behind you, if you look, see those folders? Every single one of those folders is a history on the cars that I'm about to show you. And what we'd love to do, we put a video of every single book pack, every single history, but if you want a deep dive, we will happily pull any file and any car in this room for you. Or if you want to, bearing in mind this is Wednesday now, come and have a look. If you want to pull all the bills out and have a look for yourself, you're very welcome. That's the whole point. We've estimated this at 20 to 22,000 simply because it's probably cost about £40,000 to build to that standard. So again, if you want one, you want that one. And to me, all that needs is a wheel swap to the original slots, and that car would be perfection. It's got the induction hood, which is custom, but it's very period, very in keeping, and a lot of people did it, and it's been particularly well done. Right, sleeper saloons, cars that go much faster than they look, and I love for that reason. This 2000 Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, possibly the best example we have ever seen, dare I say, possibly the best example on sale at the moment. This has a very cool fact, this car. These were the fastest mid-range accelerating saloon on sale when these came out. These are blisteringly quick. This one's done 50,000 miles, it's auto. It's a Japanese import. And why do we like Japanese imports so much? Well, Japan, if you have a look, there's some great videos on YouTube, doesn't use salt on their roads. They use basically distilled, deionized water. And for that reason, when you look underneath a Japanese car when they come over, they're much, much nicer than an English equivalent. So this one's very nice on the outside, very lovely on the inside, very rare colour combination. You do not see many in this sort of bronzy gold. Recent set of Continentals, huge spec, just drives and presents really well. It's got the electric rear window blind. It's just like new, guys. It's had a very, very easy life. I would buy a Japanese import of anything over a British car just because you just never get the underbody condition. Now these are, if you don't know, these are supercar quick. They really are astonishingly fast, but yet you can take the kids, you can just use it as your daily. It would use a bit on fuel, but look at everything on this, from the condition of the wheels, the condition of the paint. It wants for nothing, and you could buy that car for between £12,000 and £14,000 and spank everything. Unless you've got very recent Ferrari, Maserati, Porsche, this is faster. And it just looks like an E-Class. I love it, absolutely love it. Another Mercedes is back in. We need to find this car a home because it's beautiful. Don't be scared of the fact it's a CL600. Find a good specialist. These can be a wonderful thing. 2004 CL600, another trophy winning car. If you want to buy a car that's nice enough to win trophies, nice enough to be magazine featured, that's this. So it's been on the Mercedes Car Club stand at the NEC Classic Car Show. There's 2 magazine articles which are in the history file for the car. Huge specification because it's a 600. These were almost house money when they were new. They really were. Phenomenal amounts of money, phenomenal amounts of kit. This colour combination is very, very rare. You hardly ever see it. And as you would imagine for a magazine featured show winning car, it is very, very nice. The only thing I can crib this car on, tiny bit of bubbling, and they all do it, tiny bit of bubbling around the sunroof, which has just very superficial. So get that done, you can just see it starting to go there. So get the roof painted on that, and the rest of the car is so nice, it would then be pretty much perfect. Now, what would you pay for a beautiful car like that that would have very much impressed the neighbours back in the day, and I think still would now, 20 years later? You would buy that car for somewhere between £8,500 and £9,500, and I think you'd have an awful lot of fun driving it. They do have, I think, these old Mercs, just look at the front of those two. I think this is Merc during the height of their design. I really do. I just think this is them doing their finest work. The proportion, the look. I'm not a massive fan of the current Merc design language, but for me, this is the zenith of what their cars could and should look like. Mega things, get them while you can, get them while they're cost effective. Like I say, don't be scared of the fact this is a tour de force technically, because a good specialist will help you to look after it. Can't stress that enough. Other fun cars that all your friends will think you've won the lottery, Lotus Esprit. I love all Lotus Esprit, but I particularly think Peter Stevens, who's one of my favourite designers, did such a good job of taking the Giugiaro design, which was a masterpiece in itself. Very hard to take a Giugiaro car and make it better, but somehow Peter Stevens managed it. Didn't he do a beautiful job? So they kept the original glass house of the James Bond shaped car, but added this, all these beautiful scoops, the back end. What's interesting is the coefficient of drag of the Peter Stevens car is much, much better, and it manages its aero much better than the original Giugiaro design. So Giugiaro was much more interested in shape, and Peter Stevens wanted to keep the shape, but also add much more aerodynamic functionality, and he did. And he made, I think, an even prettier car. This one's done 71,000. It presents beautifully. It's got MOT until September next year, a ton of paperwork. And who doesn't love an Esprit in white? We know they're good news. So it's basically a 2174cc this. And I think these are the sweet spot, these Lotus, because the Series 1 cars have gone mental. They're so expensive. You can't really afford a nice Series 1 car anymore. They can be 50, 60, even £70,000. But these cars, which are actually in almost every single way nicer to drive, easy to live with, are much, much cheaper. So you can buy these for less than a third. You would buy this car for £16,000 to £18,000. So a third of what a Series 1 would cost. It's a car that's much easier to live with and a little bit nicer inside. If you look at these interiors, I mean, let's be honest, no Lotus interior is that robust, but these are actually really very decent. If you look inside, can you imagine yourself tooling down the road? And let me tell you, so original handbook, service book, loads of stamps. It's a part service history on this one, but loads of receipts with it as well. The latest receipts show us it's had works carried out with a front brake overhaul in April 22, a new timing belt, which is very important on these as well, in April 22, an oil change filter and plugs. Don't you love cars like this, guys? Cars where the owners looked after them, and knowing that they're going to sell them has had it all serviced and done so that you don't have to. That's probably, I'd imagine, a 4-figure bill doing a timing belt and brakes on one of those, and it's all been done. So all you need to do with that one is take it home, quick check over, maybe another oil change, because it's always nice to put fresh oil in them, and just enjoy it ready for spring. Beautiful. Now this is very, very special and not a common motor car, this one. The 575M. We've got a little video on our social media about this. This is a beautiful car, isn't it? What can I tell you about this? That 575 number plate, by the way, which is probably worth a few quid on its own, that stays with the car if you're interested in this. This has done 43,000. It's a UK supplied car. It's got a comprehensive service history. I always say with these cars, have a look where they've been serviced. You don't just want to see a full history on a Ferrari, you want to see who's done it, because obviously, like everything in life, there's people who are good, and then there's people who are better, and there's people who are brilliant. And if you look at the service stamps on this car, as you look inside, DK Engineering, massive tick, Bob Houghton, Gray Paul and HR Owen. Basically the who's who of Ferrari maintenance has looked after this. Complete book pack. It's got a tubey exhaust, which I wish I could start it for you, because it's a bit rude. Not too silly, but a tubey exhaust on these sounds fabulous. It sounds Italian. 4 former keepers. It's got the fitted luggage with it as well. It's just wonderful. Got the F1 gearbox you love or you hate. I mean, I wish it was a manual, but try and find a manual. And obviously a manual will be a lot more money. A lot more money. But actually, if you think about what the car is, it's a GT, isn't it? And a GT wants to be a wafter, so basically you want an auto paddle shift. But look at the fitted luggage, look. How cool is this? Imagine, because you're not paying a huge amount for this, you pay 75 to 85 grand, which obviously not a small amount of money, but look at what you're buying. And imagine, if you will, in the spring next year, driving with your better half to a lovely country hotel, you step out, you take your Ferrari luggage with you, you would feel like you've won the lottery. But you could do that for 75 to 85,000 pounds, which wouldn't even buy you an M3 Touring, would it? You wouldn't even buy an M3 Touring. So would you like an M3 Touring, or would you like a 575M? I think you know. I think you know. That's a mega car. It is beautiful. It has wanted for nothing. It needs nothing. If you just want one, you can tuck in your collection and have some fun with. And if you want to treat yourself, we've still got time. If you're watching these videos early, our friends at Fast and Funded, if you want a big ticket car like this, speak to Kurt and the team. They can put you a credit line in place up to an agreed value, and then you can bid on all these big expensive cars knowing you've got your finance in place. So don't be scared by a car if you haven't got the ready funds, or even if you have and you want to improve your cash flow, finance it. It's what I do. Always finance my cars. Now have a look at this. This is the best one I've seen, without doubt. This is a low-light Moggy Minor convertible, which that much you know. The amount of money that has been spent on this car and the people that have worked on it blows my mind, frankly. So come and have a look, particularly at the interior and particularly at the hood. Have you ever seen a low-light Moggy hood like this? Come and see, come and see. So an original UK car, that number plate's with it, that number plate's worth a fortune. That stays on the car as well. 47,000 miles on this car. I cannot really stress, guys, enough, as you look round this on camera, how good it is. So let's talk about some wonderful facts on this car. It's the second or third oldest tourer in existence. It's had a lengthy and meticulous restoration from 2014 to 2022, which I believe it took that long. It's got some sensible upgrades, some really nice usable things that just make it a little bit nicer. It's historic registered, so drive it into London, never pay tax. You don't have to MOT it if you don't want to. I think this would fly through an MOT. We talk about, you know, perfection, stunning, needs nothing. This car is next level, guys. If I'm being totally honest, it's probably, and I mean this as the highest compliment, it's over restored. There is no way the car would have been this nice when it was new. No way. There's no way they painted them to this quality. This is like almost like a Pebble Beach quality, American quality restoration. It's perfection, which a purist would say they would never have been that good. But if you just want one that's the best it can be, with the best paint, the best trim, the best roof, the money that's been bombed into this is insane. You would never do it. It's just not rational. It's perfect. Because of that, you're going to pay 18 to 20 for the car, but then you will have a car that needs nothing. And I guarantee with the Morris Minor, everybody loves them. There's always a market for them. And that number plate, Lord knows how many thousands that's worth. It's a lot. Little fun fact on the Morris Minor, by the way. If you come and look at these early ones, can you see this little funny plate here? You might wonder why that's there. You might wonder why there's a strip in these early MMs. It's because when Itagonis did his first design, they actually widened it by the strip of that bonnet there, and that's why you've got those filler plates in at the front. Because actually, they literally, this is the British fix of the time. Rather than retool for a bumper, they just cut the bumper, made a filler plate, and when they did the prototype, they widened it by that strip, which then became part of the design language of the car. That's today's fun car fact. Moving on, where's this one? I'm going to try and find it. Through there, come with me. Beautiful little Austin 7 Nippy. Now these 30s cars are good news at the moment because they're really good value for money. Because obviously the market's softening a little bit for 30s cars. So from an investment point of view, 30s cars shouldn't be viewed as a way to make money, but 30s cars can be viewed as an incredible amount of fun for a very sensible amount of money. And also, a bit like the Morris Minor, wherever you drive, everyone will love you, everyone lets you out at junctions, and every time you fill up, everybody wants to have a conversation with you. So if you want a bit of fun, a bit of non-pretentious fun in a wonderful car that I guarantee on a Sunday morning you can open up the bonnet and fix and fattle and just have some fun with. And this particular market at the moment I find very interesting, maybe because I'm 50. But have a look at this, look at the story of this car. That's how it was found. And this is the earliest known Nippy in the market. And what can I tell you? We think it's original spec. It's got new recent weather gear. It's got lovely attention to detail. It's a really nice older restoration. Suddenly comes from a deceased estate. But what a thing. You just never see them for sale. You see a lot of Austin 7s. And like I say, these were quite significant money not that long ago. But because the market's softening, because obviously it tends to be an older owner that had them, you could buy something like this for £9,000 to £11,000. And as the name suggests, they are huge amounts of fun, very nippy, very entertaining. They make the most wonderful noise. And because you're basically on bicycle tyres, this car will go sideways at about 12 miles an hour. So have some fun, go on, treat yourself. And also, it doesn't take up much room in your collection, does it? Moving into this room, I'm going to let Elliot do a pan of the wonderful job that our team here has done of consigning this room. This is clearly, as you can see, the mini room. So anything that's mini based or mini related is in this room. How about this? Find me another one of these for sale. This is very nice, isn't it? A 1990 MG Metro 1.3. Very, very nice. Warm hatch. Not a hot hatch, a warm hatch, this one. Just a lovely thing, isn't it? This is a Mark II model, so you've got the facelift on there. It's got a desirable sunroof. I'm going to be super honest with you guys. The car presents beautifully. If it was mine, I would repaint the roof. The car is great. The roof is tiny, tiny bit, couple of little marks. It's gone a tiny bit flat. It's had paint previously, and I would, to make this car perfect, do that again because the car justifies it because the rest of the car is so nice. And have a look at the interior. Let me get the door for you, Elliot. Because the interior is really good. And don't forget, it's very easy to paint a roof. Any good paint shop can do that. What's really hard is to find a nice interior. This car has a perfect interior with a sunroof, as I say, desirable upgraded exhaust. It's regas because these are hydroelastic, these. That's been done, so it's sitting perfectly. And just the original spec. It's interesting, isn't it? The BL cars are suddenly getting really desirable. Everyone's actually realised they're very rare. What makes classic cars worth having and makes people want to buy them is they resonate with us because we all have a story that, you know, our mum had one, our nan had one, our dad drove one, whatever it was. And because so many people had BL cars in their family, that's what's making them desirable because we've all got a BL story. Runs on unleaded, you could buy that for 5 to 6 grand. Apart from a paint of the roof, it doesn't need much really. Just a nice little car. As I say, mileage wise, 65,000, super history with it. What a fun thing. What a fun thing. And I don't think you'll see many others for sale or many others at a show because most of them rotted away. This is very good. This is a little project, 1971 Morris Mini Cooper. Low owners, got a nice little mounty wheel in there as well, which is nice. This is a project, guys. It's not perfect. If you come and look, it's not a purist Cooper, this one. So this is, let's be honest, nice Cooper bits reshelled into another shell. I would imagine looking at that, with the paint that's coming through, I would imagine an early 80s Mini City shell, because that's a Mini City colour. So what you've got is bits of a Cooper rebodied into a later shell. So purists know these are the wrong drip rails for 71. But let's be honest, who cares? Just tidy it up, have some fun with it. You're not going to pay proper Cooper money for it. And all you'll do is have a car that's really fun, that you don't mind using, that you won't lose loads of money on. And again, it's just nice inside. So it's a bit of a bitzer. It's like a very nice mongrel, this car. Lots of interesting bits. Got the column drop on, so if you're taller, you'll fit in there. Got twin fuel tanks. So I think whoever's built it has swapped a lot of the original stuff into this later shell. So stressing again, not a genuine Cooper, but certainly genuine Cooper bit in a later shell. So if you buy like that, but because it's not genuine Cooper, it's going to be a bargain. You could buy that for 5.5 to 6.5 grand, and as we'll find out in a moment, were that to be a genuine thing, it would be more than twice that. Super solid little shell, very attractive car that sits well on those lovely mini lights with the arches. I think it's got a lot to love. I think you'll have a lot of fun, and you could drive that and restore it at the same time, which is always the most fun one. Moving on. People ask about future classics. They say, Paul, what should I buy that I can drive, enjoy, have some fun with, that's probably going to make a few quid, or at least be collectible going forward? I do think early Coopers, JCWs, John Cooper Works, have to be. Why? Because they're relatively affordable now, they're huge amounts of fun, but there's not many of them, and more importantly, they look good. Classic cars have to look good. The John Cooper Works, because of all the extra bits you get, like the extra strakes, the performance, the funky interiors. This is a nice car, 77,000 miles, 2005, Cooper S, John Cooper Works, one owner from new, 10 main dealer service stamps. It's got the Works alloys, the body kit. But don't forget, they actually added 7 odd grand. When you fitted those back in the day, that was 7 grand over a standard Cooper. So it's a lot of money, an awful lot of money. Ikon on the car as well, tons and tons of history. It's got the 18-inch alloys. It's got the certificate of authenticity. So it's just, I think it's a nice spec. If it was me, I'd put those back to silver. And I think you do have the makings of a future classic that you can drive all the time, daily, have some fun with. Or if it is your way, take it on track and spank some very expensive cars. These as a B-road car, nothing touches them. You will drive on a nice country lane on a typical day faster than most supercars in one of these, because you can drive it flat and you'll have a huge, huge amount of entertainment. So I would buy that. Somewhere between 5 and 6 will take that home. Can't stress enough, guys, the money that's been spent on this car in the last 5 years, someone has spent over £6,000. We've got the invoices and bills for that. So a lovely example of a very desirable car in what I would say is probably the best colour combination, with all the love, all the bills, and you will buy this car for less than those bills. You'll buy for £5,000 or £6,000. For me, as I say, black wheels look cool, silver wheels look even cooler. Get that back to standard. Fun, appreciation, everything you want, relatively low maintenance. What a great thing to buy. Now, this is great, even more fun. We've got this one in at no reserve, so you tell us what you think it's worth. Same thing, not a Cooper Works this one, but still an absolutely wonderful little thing. 2005 Mini S Cabriolet, 94,000, manual car. If you haven't ever driven one of these, you've missed a trick, because they're surprisingly stiff, the convertibles. They're very safe, because if you look, you've got these roll bars on the back, so if you've got kids in the back, you don't need to worry about them in the event of an accident. They just got this car so right. BMW came in, obviously nicked the Mini name, but then, to be fair to them, re-engineered an absolutely wonderful car. These do everything brilliantly, reasonable amounts of rear seat legroom, kind of a boot. Just fun, huge amounts of fun. 17-inch alloy wheels, really nice colour combination once again. It's had loads of money spent on it. These are 170 brake, and they make a great noise. So if you just want a little bit of summer fun, well, guys, you could daily that, couldn't you? You could daily that all day long. And because it's no reserve, it could be the bargain of the sale. And my little insider tip, if you want to buy a convertible, buy it in the winter. The prices are always very slightly depressed in the winter because nobody's thinking about cruising with the roof down. But if you're that clever person that is, you're going to buy it probably a tiny bit less than you would do if you bought it in the spring or the summer. That's a good buy. I get the headlights restored, look. Yeah, it's a 94,000 mile car. It is not perfect, but it is incredibly presentable. The wheels, tiny bit of curbing on the edge, the odd stone chip as you would expect. Spend 50 quid restoring the headlights and you'll have a lovely car, and it won't be a lot of money, but it will be a lot of fun. This, in again, we have to find this at home. This is a Bitzer Cooper. This is the real deal. This is what it should look like. 1971, Cooper, S1275. We think from every check that we've done, that's the original body shell. It looks correct. It's got all the right bits. It's got a few custom touches like the mirrors. 9,000 miles since a rebuild. It's an older restoration, but there's a lot of history with this car which we'd very much welcome you to go through. It's been with the same family from 1996, and it presents beautifully. Really does. I love them on these little 10-inch mini lights. They look so good. So this is a Blaze. We've got navy blue interior, which is very nice. It's got period mini lights on it as well. The chrome's very good. The paint's really quite decent. It's got the right drip rail shell, which is why we think it's original, and all the numbers seem to be correct as well. It just checks out. It's got a tow bar on. I'd love to know what they were towing. I can only imagine it was probably a trailer to the tip, because they're not known as the greatest tow car, the Cooper S. But it is lovely, guys. It's very straight, very lovely. All the bits are there. And if you want one, I quite like the 70s Coopers, because obviously the 60s ones are absolutely mental money now. 70s ones, particularly in Blaze, such a good colour, I think represent good value, lots of fun, very pretty. Park it anywhere, use it in the summer every single day, and really the ultimate city car that's fun on the country lane. So that would be 19 to 20, Should buy you that car if you fancy that. Now again, this Mini, I love this. I love everything about the way it sits. It's got the sports pack arches, but with a smaller wheel. It's got a 12 rather than a 13, which I think looks really, really nice. Colour's fabulous. So this is a 1999 1.3. It's got sports pack arches, which generally speaking came with a 13, so the Mini looked quite tall on those. But when you fit in with a 12, doesn't that sit really well? Now the factory never did it. The factory always fitted that arch with a 13. I think they missed a trick because I think the 12 looks loads better. Loads better. 60,000 miles, the most amazing interior on this. And this is a really nice era, so these late 90s ones, because don't forget you're only 2 years away from the new BMW Mini at this point. So you've got almost the ultimate evolution of what they were doing. So you've got the wood dash kit, you've got the later wheel with the airbag, so relatively safe. Great colour, what can I tell you? 5 former keepers, sports pack arches, new Falcons on there as well. It's got a CAD quick shift. It's only done 3,000 miles in the last 4 years, serviced every single year and driven in the dry. It's just a nice car. It really is a nice car. What, 6.5 to 7 grand? We'd buy that. I think it's hard to find a Mini that presents better than that. I think it's going to be hard to find a Mini that sits better than that. Say sports packs and 12s, you don't see it very often. Just, it's got that indefinable something that makes you want to own a car. That car I like very much. Have a look at the history on that. It's nice. It's a really nice car. The most desirable year of Mini is obviously the very first one or the very last one. This isn't quite a 59, which is the first year, but it's the next best thing. It's the 1960s, so it's the year afterwards. You could argue when they sorted all the problems out on the 59 and the 60 was perfect. This is 52,000 miles, it's MOT exempt, it's everything exempt, it's historic, and you get all those beautiful features that only the only cars get. So you get the wavy grille, you get the external hinges, the slidey windows, you get the beautiful little backlights. These 59 early 60s cars are just so pretty, and you get the really basic dashboard, which is so utilitarian. And this was Ikon vision, which, if we're honest, actually got lost on the later cars. And I'll show you what I mean, because his vision was a tiny amount of space, 10 feet of space, should hold 4 people in comfort and all the stuff they need. Because if you look at the dashboard, the dashboard takes a load of stuff on an early 59 60. Look how much space is there. And look at the door bin on an early car. And this was Ikon's vision, that you could put a load of ramble in there, which if you look on a later car, kind of got lost. Come with me, I'm making Elliot work today, look. So you could argue this looks more luxurious. See what I mean? So that's what you had to put your stuff in the 1990s, whereas in the 60s, he gave you a lot more room. So those early cars, very, very clever in terms of use of space. Nobody did it better. So for that reason alone, because it's the purity of the designer's vision, which kind of got washed away on the later cars, that's why the early cars are so collectible, because they're very pretty, very utilitarian, and very usable, actually, as well. What can I tell you? It's been painted at some point. It's had some body restoration. The chrome's very good. We think the 52,000 is genuine, and it's got piano hinge opening rear windows, which aren't original on the build sheet, but they are period correct. A lot of people had those fitted as a dealer option. So it's the early 7 look. It's what everybody wants. You would buy that car for 13 to 15 grand, and I think you'd be very, very happy if you did. Again, just look at this interior. Once more, come on. Just look at the seats. Look at the room you get. They kind of went backwards, didn't they? I mean, what's mad if you were doing like a resto mod now, because look also, for instance, the seats, they made the seats deliberately very, very thin so that the driver could sit very far back, and even I would get good leg room, but because the seat is so thin, you've then got huge amounts of leg room behind. It's a work of genius. There's no wonder they sold them for 40 odd years, because it's a very clever car. As we've seen, historic Minis are phenomenally expensive because they're very desirable. If you want to get into a 60s Mini without spending Mini tax, here's a clever way to do it. 1967 Riley Elf, very rare survivor, 95,000 miles, with a great history on this. We think it's original spec. It's not perfect, needs a few little bits, a few little blebs and bubbles, but she's solid. The paint's blistering a tiny bit on the bonnet, but this is nothing that you couldn't sort. And again, you can drive it whilst you're having fun and you're restoring it. Interior is lovely, look at this. I would say that's all original interior. But it's like a little baby roller, isn't it? It's a great history, appears to be factory spec, got all the handbooks, and this older restoration, we have got nice history of that. We've got photographs of that as well. But unlike a 60s Mini, this will not be expensive at all. It's more practical because it's got a much bigger boot. And if you don't know, obviously all the Riley was basically a very clever little bonnet to make it look like a bigger, more expensive car than it was. And if you come around the back, very cute little finned boot. And this is where it gets quite sensible. Make sure I'm not going to hit the wall here. Look how much more boot space you get, literally double the boot of a Mini. So rare car these days, but whereas that's going to be big five figures, you could buy that for 3.5 to 4.5 grand, which I would say is even better value. So moving on into the main sales room, that's our Mini room. One last spin before we go. See if you can find something you like. Pretty cool, huh? And don't forget the beautiful thing about most of the cars in that room, they only take up 10 feet of garage space. So you've got room, you can find 10 feet. This is amazing. Talking about cars that never come up for sale at all, or ever, in any condition. And this one is exceptional. I love this. It's got the X factor. This has definitely got the X factor. This is a 1983 Morris Ital 440 van. We think there's 47 of these left, according to DVLA. This one's done 37,000 miles with 5 former keepers. It's really nice. It's got the original service record. It's got 5 stamps in the book. So I guess it had more servicing than that because the condition is lovely. And don't you love the sign writing? Now this could be a lot of things. You could just keep it as it is. If you have a company that does any kind of retro-based commerce, wouldn't it be a great thing to have that sign writing taken off and put your sign writing on? But this is, because it's an 80s car, it's a relatively usable van. So if you're doing any kind of events or having fun with your business, put this through because it is, look, at the end of the day, it's a really usable little van. It's got a spare wheel and toolkit. So I'm sure you know, obviously the Ital was just the last iteration of the Marina with a slight restyle. But I just think there's some fun to be had with this. I think as well, if you de-sign rate it, you could probably get some filming work with this because there's so few period commercials, small period commercials left from the 80s. Filming companies often need them for period dramas and films. So if you just did that as a blank canvas so that they could put on whatever you wanted, that would be good. Interior is really nice. Certainly I believe that mileage to be genuine because it's just too nice. But I am an old man now, I'm 50, and I can remember as a kid just seeing these everywhere. Everybody had these. British Telecom had a load of them. I think the AA had a few of them as well. But you just don't see them, do you? They all rotted away, they all got worn out. But this one has had a charmed life, as I say, 37,000 miles, and everything about it, from the steering wheel to the control surfaces, everything feels like that's had a cherished life. Look at things like the arches, look. They're just razor sharp. All the places where these should have gone, and have gone in most cases, this one hasn't. As I say, a charmed existence, and it could be yours for somewhere between 6 and 7 grand. I absolutely adore that. And I also adore this, mainly because it's got Ronal R10s on. How do you make a great car even better? Stick Ronal R10s on. Ronal R10s, one of the greatest wheels ever made. Don't know, I think this car has the original wheels too, but I would very much leave them on this. This, of course, is a 1990 Volkswagen Golf GTI Cabriolet. Serviced 400 miles ago. It's got the original BBS, which in themselves are quite an expensive wheel now as well. So it comes with 2 sets of wheels. You choose what you want. Retrimmed interior has been done very, very nicely. This is a fully operational electric roof as well. It's got an aftermarket strut brace on the front, which is quite groovy. And 155,000 miles, which the car does not look like. This is either very, very nice original paint, or I would guess a very, very good glass out respray, because the paint is almost too good on this. What can I tell you? No advisories on the last MOT, mega service history. These are good news. These Golf cabs are just very, very good news because they just do everything. They look good, they get you into 2 scenes. They're a classic car in their own right, plus particularly stance like this on R10s. You could go to any water-cooled Volkswagen event and be greeted with open arms because it's such a good looking car. And it's a Volkswagen, it's reliable, it's usable. You can put you and 3 family members in it and just have some fun in the summer. But also, because they've got a really good roof on these, they're quite a useful car in the winter. Just absolutely love them. Dead easy to get bits for, dead easy to look after. There isn't really anything for these cars you can't get. And just look at it. 10 to 12 grand, you could take that home, and I think you'd be very happy if you did. Other really interesting, fun stuff that doesn't come up for sale very often. Smart Roadster Coupe, we all know how good they are. Very interesting bit of design history in Mercedes canon. And now you've got this is the Brabus. So the Brabus obviously took what was already, I think, quite a handsome car And I think history will make these quite collectible. That's my prediction. But it's the top of the range. You've got these amazing deep dish wheels. You've got this fabulous stance, the lowered suspension, removable top, all this Brabus badging everywhere. But you think anything else that Brabus did, have a look. Brabus is such a top-end tuner. There aren't many cars with that badge on that aren't huge amounts of money. But they stuck them on a smart roadster. And it just means if you buy one, you've got a Brabus, you own a Brabus car, but you haven't spent loads of money. What can I tell you? Beautifully presented, top of the range. It's the exclusive specification. It's got a recent new roof. It's got Napa leather wheel. It's got the upgraded stereo. It is a genuine Brabus, that we know. It's not just got the bits on it. But you could buy that car for £5,000 to £6,000, and it's done 70,000 miles. It drives really well. Every member of the team that's been in this car has fallen in love with it. I think buy one of these, if you can find one, tuck it away, look after it. And this really doesn't need much at all. The paint's very good. The wheels are very good, and those wheels are so desirable because they're just a unique Brabus 3-stud wheel on these if you look. Look at the design features on these. What I love about the Smart Roadster, particularly in Brabus form, it looks like a concept car that they made. And for that reason, I think they will be future collectible, and they are just immense amount of fun to drive. I mean, they sound like a elastic band on a washing machine. They're a great sound, really funny little thing. Supercar, say 6 to 7 grand, you could own that. And I would be very jealous of you if you did. Now, anyone of my age who remembers the Max Power era, this was the canvas of choice for the modifying artists of the late 90s, early noughties. This is a 2003 Citroen Saxo 1.6 VTR, one owner from new. Now, these were, as I say, the car of choice during the Max Power era. We all modified these because they're a brilliant car anyway. You've obviously got the DNA from the Peugeot Citroen group of great cars like the 205, and you can feel that present in this car here. I don't think I've seen one in this kind of condition for a long time. This has done no miles really, 59,000 miles. It is of course a manual. The VTR being the slightly softer one against the VTS, but they looked identical. It was very hard almost to tell the two apart. So you've got the sexy little arches on, one lady owner from new, the private plate stays with it as well. Again guys, I keep saying it, find me another one. Unmolested, unmodified. I think the key to this car would be keeping it as it is, keeping it completely standard. And have a look inside, it's very dark in here. But it's got a large collection of receipts, invoices and older MOTs. It's got the original order form, which I love as well, even the handover paperwork. So if you are a Max Powerist, which I definitely was, and you want to just have a little reminisce about the great times, this would be a good car to do. You could be very, very naughty, I think, and maybe do like a period modded one. Maybe just drop this, put it on some cool period TSWs. I think that would be a lot of fun. But the best thing is, unlike every other car of the period, a lot of modified cars which have now got a lot of scene tags on, for some reason these haven't quite got there yet. You look at things like the 205 GTI, and we will look at one later on, these can still be a relative bargain, and this one with no reserve could be that bargain. You could get a really nice car here. Again, cars that you might tuck away. Look at what makes money. We know hot hatches always do well. 80s and 90s cars always do well. This is an early noughties car, and for that reason, it's not quite there yet. I think look at the stuff that goes before it. These are going to be the next bit of good news. I would very much buy that, tuck that away. Whatever you do, just have fun with it, drive it, enjoy it. But it could be a great investment as well. Coming this way, cars you don't see very often and vans you don't see very often. How about a 1969 Bedford CA van? Just drink it in, guys. So that it's very, very old paintwork, so it's nicely patinated. If you look here, you've got swirls and scratches. It is by no means a show winner, but what it is exceptionally presentable and very, very level. It's a lovely thing. 63,000 miles, one former keeper, and they've had it an awfully long time. Registered correctly as a historic vehicle, so everything exempt this one as well. And what I really love, if you just come through, Elliot, and have a look in the back, this used to belong to Stone's Bakery, this van. And if you look in the back, you'll even see the original Stone's Bakery sign. So that's in Farndon. It's super, super level. If this was a split screen Volkswagen, we'd be asking about £30,000 or £40,000 for this because it's so straight and so original. I can't stress that enough, guys. And the paint is perfectly patinated. I would leave this exactly as it is. In fact, I've sent this to our friends at Catalogue Classic. I said, guys, you need this. It's the right colour for you. Put Castro down the side. Isn't it beautiful? And of course, you've got these cooler than cool sliding doors, which is so much cleverer than what everyone else was doing. Again, going back to what we're saying about the Ital, this, if if you couldn't get some filming work with this, and it's really practical. Again, really usable vehicle if you've got a business selling any kind of thing retro or an old car business. What a fabulous thing to have sign written or vinyl and just use it as a shop window, but also really big inside. And the idea of these walk-through doors was if you're doing low speed deliveries, you just left them open and you just run in and run out. Very clever thing. Loads of history, loads of background to that. It's had a colour change in 2010. It was white originally, it's now green. I said the fact we've got those side panels, but you could buy that for £7,000 to £8,000. You don't see them, and you don't see them in that condition. Wonderful thing. And I say, imagine if that was a Volkswagen or an old Transit, what that would be worth. So the Bedfords really are a bit of a bargain. E30. E30 at the height of its power, so towards the end of its run, before they came into the E36. This is very, very late, this one, 1992. So this would have sold in the showroom alongside the E36, that late. A 318 convertible design, so you get the lovely pipe seats. Come and have a look at the interior for this. 86,000, it's a manual car, it's beautiful. It's probably the best colour for that year. It's got the design interior as well, so you've got these lovely piped seats. And this has spent its life on Jersey, so it's enjoyed a warmer climate and therefore less salt than we get here on the mainland. And for that reason, I adore this car very much. So I say 86,000 miles. They only built 100 neon blue cars, so they were rare in period. I can't imagine many of those cars have survived, and if they have, they won't have survived in this condition. They won't have had that cherry of life on Jersey. Recent time about and service completed. And just look at it, it needs nothing, guys. The bodywork is perfect, the wheels are perfect, the interior is like new. It's got mega service history. What can I tell you? Roof's in good condition, rear screen's great. It's had the Geon treatment, so it's just been fully valeted and protected as well. Dash top's great. Just needs nothing, absolutely nothing. Just needs you to buy it, tuck it away or enjoy it. Because it is so straight and so exceptionally nice, you're gonna pay 10 to 12 grand for that. I think you can probably appreciate why. But everywhere you look, just come and look close to. Just look at things like the edges, because normally these have been repainted, they're not very nice. Look at the panel fit. It's just gorgeous, guys. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a car that's had the easiest life in the world, and it really, really shows. Just things like seat bolsters. Absolutely stunning. That is potentially, if that's your thing, a concours car though. You could spend probably a couple of afternoons on that and you could get pride of ownership, I would say, at any BMW car concours you care to enter. Beautiful thing. This is very nice, and the lovely people at the Triumph Club have been helping us provenance this, because this is a TR5, that much you know, but what we think is it's probably one of the last, and potentially, and I'll use that word with a heavy underline, potentially the last TR5. It's certainly within the last hours of production of the TR5, and if you look at the chassis numbers and the time it was produced, this is the end. It's just about before they swapped over tooling to the TR6. If you'd like a TR5 at the zenith of its production, here is your car. This is one of the very few left in existence, a host of paperwork going back many, many years. It's got the heritage certificate, it's been with a long-term owner and very few owners as well, and it's just really nice. So not concours, you know me, I tried to be picky for you, I tried to be your eyes and ears. So you've got little paint marks, there's a tiny crack in the paint there, a little dent. But she's an old lady, you know, she's been used and had fun. Tiny little bit of discoloration on the edge of the boot lid there. But what I would not do with this car is change any of that. It has obviously sat in this paint for a very long time, and I think the trick to this car is enjoy it for what it is, which is exceptionally presentable and very, very level. And everything's there. Door shuts are very nice, panel gaps are pretty good as well on the car. And you can own that car for 35 to 40 grand. They are very desirable and very rare. As I say, you're looking at one that is potentially, well, certainly the last week of production, could even be the last car. It's nice, isn't it? I think the mini lights really suit it as well. So let me tell you what some of the little trim on this. So it's got black trim, red piping, it's got loads of invoices, it's got stainless exhaust, it's got a Kenlay fan, which is a really good upgrade to have. It's got new shocks on it. It's got uprated inertia wheel seat belts, which is very good. And it's nice. Lots and lots of builds for that car. If you want to spend some time, if you're thinking about a TR5, do spend some time going through the history on that car. So many builds, so much history, so much information. So buy that with great knowledge that it's a good car. One of my favourite cars of all time, and again, a car that rarely comes up for sale, E36 M3 cab manual. Yes, please. 1996 M3 Evolution. This is just a saucy, saucy thing, isn't it? Love the fact it's in red as well. 55,000 miles. Just so unusual to find an Evolution cab manual. It's a rare bust, this, guys. Reluctant sale, I'm not surprised. And just, again, like the Jersey car, really level car. Tiny, tiny bit of paint flatness. me being hyper pedantic, I would just get this paint corrected to make it beautiful, because the roof is very nice. The roof, because it's not being used very much, being again totally open with you, she's been a bit temperamental. Some days she works, some days she doesn't. So I would spend a bit of money investigating what that is. But the roof is in exceptional condition. The plastic's perfect. The mohair itself is very nice. The seats are very good. If you want to come and have a little poke through here, Elliot. So let me look. So this is, let me talk you through it. Yeah, this last chap's had it for 22,000 miles. The service history is very good with the car. Isn't it beautiful? Tiny, tiny bit of refurb to do. So we need to sort the roof, a little bit of refurb on the alloys to make it perfect. And then you've got just tiny bits of paint correction to do. But you would buy that car between 11 and 13,000 pounds. And I think that's somewhat of a bargain, because these are a quick old stick, you know. They really are a fast car. And I think this, again, the E30, the E36, I like the E46 as well, but for me, this is BMW at the height of its powers, doing the most beautiful design. We won't get into a discussion about where they are now, the kind of cars they're designing now, but aren't these pretty diminutive little cars where everything's in perfect proportion? So 11 to 13 grand would buy you that car. Moving on to this. Now, why have I never had a 2CV? I can't explain that, guys. One of my favourite classic cars in the world is the Citroen 2CV, but for some reason I've never had the stars align where the perfect car at the perfect price has come up at a time when I would like to own one. But maybe that's now. Maybe this is the time. 1989 Citroen 2CV6 Special Dolly, restored in 2022, and my word, someone has spent some money, and they have done a very good job, guys, as well. This has had tons. I'm going to need to talk you through this. The restoration included the engine being stripped, cleaned and rebuilt, reconditioned gearbox. The key thing when you buy an old 2CV, shout it out if you're watching, galvanised chassis. So they swapped it onto a proper chassis, the interior's been retrimmed, and the whole thing has been resprayed in plum and custard. Just look at that. So the restoration did that. Recent wheel refurbishment, it drives beautifully. It's had a new hood made by a Citroen specialist. It's got electronic ignition, it's got new brakes. My word, it's had just the world spent on it. Now, I don't know what that cost, but I can tell you now, you're going to buy it for a lot less than those bills, because you will buy this car for £6,500 to £7,500. Do yourself a favour, it's probably £3 grand to paint a car, at least to this standard. There's probably several £100s. There's a four-figure sum spent on the inside, then price up what chassis cost. You're buying that for less than half, guys. What a beautiful thing. Really nice car. You'll buy that for £6,500 to £7,500 grand. Everybody will think you're awesome. Everybody will let you out of junctions. Citroen 2CVs never make a fortune. They're not great investment cars in terms of you're not going to buy this and next year it's worth 20 grand. Not that kind of car. But what you will do, and I always say this, buy a car that makes you smile, buy a car that you can have fun with, and buy a car that you can use. And 2CVs are just so usable. They're just practical cars that go forever. They're lots of fun, they make a great noise, and they're not fast. When you go into a corner at 30 miles an hour and the door handles almost touch the side of the road, you won't care. They're just very entertaining, very jolly little things. And they even come with the air conditioning. Look, you just open that flap up and it brings the cold air in. Charm of 110%. As I say, £6,500 to £7,500 grand. You can have that. That could be yours. Well, I absolutely love this. Everyone knows Beetles are my favourite classic cars. I need to invite Elliot to come and view my metal flake. Look at this. Someone has painted this car who was stuck in a 70s time warp, and I'd like to kiss them on the cheek, because look at the depth of the metal flake on this. This has had some really cool paint. The 1973 Volkswagen, great year. It's had a ton of money spent. It's got 21,000 showing, so I'd imagine that's probably round the clock prior to resto. But have a look in there. What can I tell you about this? It's got an invoice detailing £20,742 in 2023. Someone has spent 20 grand building this car, ladies and gentlemen. The engine has been rebuilt to 1641cc. Oh, listen to how that shuts as well, look. Yes, please, that's lovely. This is a 1641, so she's a flying machine. Look at that. And twin carbs as well. Gosh, somebody really has gone to town on this, haven't they? They've done this as a nice little mod as well. They've put the Mexican engine lid seal on, which gets rid of the rust trap around the bottom there. That's a nice little mod. Now the colour is very individual. I personally love it, and the fact that it's a heavy, heavy metal flake, like really 70s metal flake, I don't know if you can see that on camera, really, I think, makes this car very, very, very cool. It's got these MP replica wheels on as well, which suit it. The stance is perfect. It's low, but not too low, so you could use it every single day. It's a one-off build. It's very much to someone's individual taste. I happen to think they have great taste. It's a lot of fun. It's not your typical cow looker. It's not done to a slavishly followed style. You've got all your chrome on there. It sits well. There's a lot to love here, not least the fact there's a lot of work done to a very, very high standard and to a very great cost. I'll just talk you through some of these things. It's had a new rack, it's had new MPs, it's got the new tyres, new exhaust, new shockers, really great respray, just been MOT'd, engine upgrade and rebuild, twin carb setup. There's bills for all of this stuff, guys. As I say, over 20 grand spent. You could buy it for half that, 10 to 12 grand, you could take that home. If you are thinking about a fun Beetle that's a traffic stopper, very usable, with a 1641, very tractable, like I say, for half the build cost. That's the thing about a lot of these cars, guys. If you are thinking of restoring a car, it can be great fun if you like the enjoyment of a restoration project and being in a garage in a weekend with your mate or your dad or your other half. Restore a car because it's very worthwhile and a lot of fun. It keeps you out of mischief as well. But actually, if you just want to end up with a car that drives and looks beautiful, it is always, despite what we tell you on television, always much better value to come to an auction house like this and buy a quality restoration where all the bills are there and someone has done the work. Because generally speaking, unless it's something really rare or unique, you never get that money back. It's much better to buy someone else's hard work, someone else's effort, and get the benefit of a £20,000 build plus the base cost of the car, don't forget. It's probably 22, 23 grand for 10 to 12. That would be my thing. And if you like purple and you like 70s metal flake, that's just a mega thing. Moving on, talking of amazing things from the 1970s, myself included. 1973, great year. Jaguar E-Type V12 Roadster, UK supplied, matching numbers, stunning condition. Just drink it in with 47,000 miles on a manual. Now obviously the purist goes for the Series 1. The user, the person that wants to enjoy the car with a little bit more room and a bit more waft, goes for a later Series 3 because they're just bigger, they're cheaper, they're better value. Dare I say more usable with a bit more room. Just really nice original car. It's had paint, obviously, very nice paint. Low owners, super history. This does have a factory hardtop and it does have the original wheels. If you want to be a purist and put it back on the original rims, you can. I think it looks particularly nice on the wires. And I love the fact it's a manual. Isn't this a pretty car? And again, when we buy classic cars, guys, we're sort of buying a lifestyle, aren't we? We're buying the dream of a different life, of wafting along sunny country lanes to pubs and hotels and great days out. And I think you would just have so much fun driving this on a beautiful day with the roof down, listening to that V12 singing away. There's a lot of fun to be had there. And because it is a later car, it's not going to be anything like, if that was a mint Series 1, you'd be well into six figures. You could buy that for 75 to 85 grand, and it needs nothing, absolutely nothing. There is, as you can see, a stack of stuff. Let me just talk you through some of the goodness on this car. So it's had so much stuff: water hoses, starter motors, reconditioned radiators, carburetor services, engine removed and engine bay completely stripped and cleaned and painted. There is a wealth of history. We could fill a video with this car's history, so I won't do that today, but do go online, we have it all. And if you are seriously interested, please pull the folder online, or if you'd like us to walk you and talk you through the service books, we'll happily do that, because it's a big, expensive car, and we'd like to tell you all about it. So have a look at that, 75 to 85 grand, wants for nothing, needs nothing, just you to sign the V5. Right, onto this, probably one of the coolest cars in the auction, in the best colour. Yeah, 1976 260Z 2+2. So you've got a little bit of a rear seat, so a bit more practical. The purists obviously like just the standard coupe. I think the 2+2 is better, because if you can take your kids to a classic car show, that has to be good. It means that the day will last longer and everybody's happy. 56,000 miles on a manual. The 2+2, as I say, is rarer, and I think makes it more usable, more fun. It's just had £1,500 spent on head gaskets and seals. It drives really well, but never mind that. Look at it, just look at it. What's not to love about a Z in this colour on those wheels? It's got the slots, which just utterly make it. If Elliot runs around here, we're making him earn his money today, and has a look at this interior, the non-more 70s interior of the 260Z. What a thing. I mean, obviously, when Datsun set out to build these, they designed a car that would basically obliterate everything else. They designed a Japanese E-Type, basically. And like all Japanese cars of the era, they just took what everybody else was doing and made it better and more reliable and, dare I say, more stylish. And to me, this car could not be better. It couldn't be in a nicer condition. It couldn't be a better spec being a 2+2, because I love those. Couldn't be a better colour, couldn't be on better wheels. It's just everything you want. I say grab them while they're cheap. That will be 18 to 20, and I don't think they'll be that way for long. If you look at what other Japanese cars are doing, particularly in the performance car category, look at Skyline prices, just stratospheric. Look at RX prices, stratospheric. 2+2 Zs, I think, represent the last of the bargain Zs. Get them while you can, and particularly in such a nice spec and colour and in such a usable specification. That's a great car to own. This car I love. Now this car does need a little bit of love. If you go through it, I would say please have a look. You've got to regard this car as a bit of a project, as a fixer-upper, but I don't think I've ever seen a Bentley T1 that sits and presents so well. There's a way that these cars sit, the shadows in the Bentleys. Some of them sit a little bit down at the back, but there's something about the tyre ratio, the wheel trim, the colour choice of this car. Even though she's going to need some expenditure, you are going to have to put a few £1,000s into this car going forward. They're never cheap, these cars, but my word, they're worth it. It's just glorious, isn't it? What can I tell you? 67,000 miles, 1968 Bentley T1, which if you don't know is basically a silver shadow with, I think, a much nicer grille. So obviously the shadow grille is all hard and Corinthian. The T1 grille is a much softer shell and I think more handsome for that reason. Also T1s are much rarer, so I would therefore say more desirable. The gentleman CAD's car, the T1. So inside, yeah, she's patinated, leather's patinated. The wood will need a little bit of a refresh. She's going to need a little refresh underneath at some point as well. We're putting a new tank on for you because she's decided to split her petrol tank, which a lot of cars do. So it will have a new reconditioned tank on there. Original spec with Sharp radio. The chrome works very nice. It's got Avons on. It's got the rear picnic tables. It's had new brake calipers, brake flexes, new fuel pump. So over £1,000 has been spent this year. And as I say, it will have a new tank, which you don't want to know what that costs. It's a lot of money. So you'll have a nice, usable, drivable car, but as I say, she's going to need work going forward to keep her in the manner to which she's become accustomed. So bank on that. But because of that, it's not going to be an expensive car. We've estimated that at 9 to 11. If that was super duper, you'd be in the 20s for that. So you're buying a car where you get to add the value and you get to have the fun. So if you're handy with a spanner, you know what you're doing. There's a potential bargain and a wonderful way to travel. There is not an event in the world you couldn't turn up to in that car and look fabulous for probably 10 grand. So there you go. Oops, nearly dropped my phone. That could have gone a bit wrong. On we go. Right, to this lovely Jensen. 1973 Jensen Interceptor 3. You know what I think of these? I think they're fabulous. And again, we did one of these on the show and lost an enormous amount of money because they're quite a car to restore properly. This one has been done for you. In fact, £14,000 has been spent in the last 5 years. 39,000 miles showing on the Odo. I would be surprised if that's all she's done. I'd imagine that's had a speedo reset. It's had a recent bare metal respray, which I can tell you now is a fortune to do one of these. It's got air conditioning, it's got low ownership, it's had a refurbished gearbox, a reconditioned power steering rack, and it's just a nice standard car. Leather's gorgeous on it as well. The body's good, leather's good. All the things that cause you a headache on these cars has been done. As I say, £14,000 has been spent, which means you don't have to, which is a nice feeling. And that car is £38,000 to £42,000. Just a lot of car for the cash. Lovely timeless thing, these. Timeless and classless. Like I say, you could turn up with any of these cars. Bentley T1, Jensen Interceptor, what we're about to see, the Jaguar XJS. Just the kind of cars that just exude class, but without being flashy or showing off. I like that a lot. I like the fact it's in white. I like the fact it's got a vinyl roof. As I say, for about 38 grand, 42 grand, you could own that too. 1988 Jaguar XJS 5.3 convertible. She's a V12, low mileage, low owners, 54,000 miles on this. I do love an XJS in BRG with tan. It's a classic combination. There's a reason that so many Jags sell in this colour combination, because it looks so good. 4 previous keepers, original book packs there, and a wafty V12 automatic with the luggage rack option in the back as well. And 53,000 miles is not a lot of miles for the year. Hood's in very nice condition, hood bag's in very nice condition. Paintwork's really quite good indeed on this, I have to say. Nice little tasteful amount of paint. It's, I would say, mostly original paint on that. Lovely little coach line down the side as well. It's really good. Where these can bubble up, this one hasn't gone. The chrome and the trim is very good. Do you know what, guys? That's a really nice car. I want to give that a good 8.5, 9. I think with very little work, you can make that almost perfect, that car. And it's not going to be a huge amount of money. 16 to 18,000 pounds to waft around like this. Do love an XJS, do love an XJS cab. They're just an old money car, aren't they? Again, going back to what we were saying about the E-Type, Cars that you can go on a nice summer jaunt, take somewhere lovely and enjoy just driving for the sake of driving, that's the car. Who doesn't love a Capri? This has had a colour change, this one. This is a 1971 Ford Capri 1600 GT, genuine UK supply car, which is unusual because a lot of these cars come from hotter countries like Malta or South Africa. It's got the sports wiper conversion. I'm not sure what's happened to the wipers. I'm sure we will be including those in the sale, but it doesn't have them at the moment. All the paperwork for GT and history. It had a colour change in 2019, and I'd like to hat tip the person that did it because I would have gone for yellow. It's very, very nice. Being totally blunt, because you know you like me to be that, the paintwork is okay, to be fair. It probably could do with a little bit of correction. And if you look, it's just bubbling through on places like the front wings. That front wing fit, I would suggest, could be a tiny bit better as well. But it's going to be quite price rangey for what it is. Normally this period of Capri, as you know, is hideously expensive. But because it's a 1600, and even though it has a really, really nice interior, which I am really, really feeling, look at the seats on that. My word, somebody spent some money on this. So let me tell you some stuff. So it's a bit of a one-off. You're not going to see many GTs. It's got a load of old MOTs, loads of paperwork, and it was offered for sale not that long ago for 18 grand at the Bewley Motor Company. And if you want to do some Googling on that, you'll find this car was for sale for 18 grand. We've estimated at 7 to 8. Now I say not perfect, but just pull back, Elliot, and just look at this as a thing. They called it the car you'd always promise yourself. I would, if it was me. That front wing fit is causing my OCD to go. Whoever's put this wing on, it's low at the back, high at the front. I would just say it's probably worth whipping that wing off and that one. It's had two wings on the front, and I don't know who fitted them, but front wing fitment could be a tiny bit better. But we've, I think, estimated it very sensibly because of that. So don't forget, up for sale at 18 grand. We've estimated it at 7 to 8. That gives you the money to get the bodywork sorted, to get these wings fitting beautifully. And you will have a proper rifle because it's got the bones of a very, very nice car under there. Interior is great. The colour change is particularly nice. It's a very rare model, and we know it's a documented GT. It's the real thing. Proper job. Have some fun. Make it perfect. Add some value because we always know fast forwards are good news. And other cars that are great news. C124 Coupe. I did an experiment this year, and I always bang on about this. This is my new soapbox to stand on. I let my lease car go back, my Volvo S90, at the end of last year, which was costing me 350 quid a month with a VAT on it. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to try driving for 1 year, see if it works, a 90s classic. Can you drive a practical classic every day? And I do probably, I don't know, 25,000 miles a year. Instead of a lease car, can I save myself 350 quid a month and drive something that's cool and old? And will it work and will it be reliable? So I bought a cheap Volvo V70 and I've driven it every day. It's cost me nothing and it's been perfect. And it's saving me 350 quid a month. So if you want to try and do that experiment for yourself, here is the perfect car to do it in. You could do it 1993 Mercedes 220 CE, so not a big engine. So it will bowl along, it will do 70, 75 on the motorway, which is all you're allowed to do, don't forget. And it won't use loads of petrol. It's done 122,000 miles, which for a Mercedes is nothing. It's running in. It's got loads of history, loads of paperwork, original book pack, a sensible mileage for the year, and what a colour, what a colour. It's nice on the body. It's had some paint, there's a slight colour difference there. The passenger door, as we say in the trade, more hits than the Beatles. I would spend 200 quid getting that de-dented. There's almost a braille message there. So if you just get those door dents taken out, somebody has been very unfair with the way they've been opening that door, which belies the fact the rest of the car is really, really straight. So I would get those door dents done. The car's super nice. And look inside. Look inside, guys. So what else can I tell you? It's got electric windows all around, of course, period CD player. But this is what I'm talking about. Imagine going to work in there, and it's beautiful. It's automatic, so when you're stuck in a traffic jam, it would appreciate not a penny. Any decent service specialist will look after it for you, but because it's a 220, most of the time your local garage around the corner will be able to service it for you because they're not a complicated car, the 220. And you would buy this car between £4,000 and £5,000. Do 15,000 miles in it this year, next year it will be worth £4,000 or £5,000. Do another 15,000 miles, still worth £5,000. You see what I mean? You could buy one of these cars, it will cost you the same amount of service as a new car will, give or take, doesn't lose money, and you're driving around in a C124. Man maths. I've tried it this year with a rubbish old Volvo and it's worked beautifully. I do think what we should all do as classic cars, if you really want to save the planet, guys, this car has paid its carbon debt a long time ago. So to keep this car going and to use this as your daily driver is much more environmentally responsible than buying a brand new car and putting it on the road. So even though this will emit more, it will take a long time for it to catch up. I think buy that, keep it well serviced, look after it. That's the way to save the planet. Moving on to one of the all-time greats. 1988 Peugeot 205 GTI 1.9, 102,000 miles on the clock, sunroof, which is always quite nice to have. It's a pre-cat car, which everybody likes, a little bit quicker, obviously easier to get through the MOT. It's had a respray this year, and I'll give it an okay mark. It's a good respray. It's not a concours respray. I think it would correct better. Because it's black, I'm being hypercritical, you know that. I think you could mop that again and it would come up really, really well. On the button, ready to go, matching Toyos as well. It's got the correct 1.9 alloys, which is really worth having. Just a cool thing. Respray is nice, 12 months MOT on it as well. There's a few paint imperfections on the front, but 10 to 12 grand, you know, the top of this market can be 25 or 30s. So this is a nice price range car that's actually really presentable. And very, very nice. Have a look in there. Carpets are nice, seats are nice, bolsters are good, door cards are good as well. If you have never driven one of these, all the road testers go really gooey-eyed. There's a tiny pull on the seat there, tiny bit of retensioning wants to be done, but those bolsters are pretty good. Don't forget this is a French interior. They weren't the most robust. They really show when they've had abuse and wear, and this one actually really looks very straight. That's a nice car. And with a very little amount of continued prep, you can make that an exceptional car. It's got 6x9s on the back, which was the thing. If you can find a nice partial shell for it, I think they're actually reissuing the partial shells for these as well through Peugeot Heritage. So just fun, but I would just buy it for what it is. Buy it for the fact it's a cost-effective price range 205 GTI, and just have a giggle with it. There is nothing at any price point in the hot hatch canon that touches what these cars can do. You might want to just clip that trim back on a little bit better as well. 10 to 12 grand, you can take that home. So that's a pretty decent respray that with a little bit of further correction could be a very, very nice respray and a very nice price range car for a third of what the top of that market is. Other hot hatches, now when people talk about hot hatches, they never talk about the Lotus Sunbeam because technically being a rear wheel drive car, it kind of isn't really a hot hatch. Because don't forget this is basically an Avenger made pretty, even with Avenger doors on it. Everybody knows or should know the rallying history of the Lotus Sunbeam. Obviously they take a nice hatchback car, stuff it full of Lotus bits, create a real rally legend, a real Mark II Escort alternative that rallies just as well. This one is an Avon car, so the last cars of the Sunbeams basically went to Avon Coachworks and had these amazing two-tone custom blue paint job and this crushed velour interior, which is very much of its time. This one's only had 2 former keepers. It's 21 out of 56 Avon cars. It's set up for fast road. It's got some really nice mods on this. It's got a limited slip diff. It's got a fast road cam. It's got a Tony Law exhaust manifold. So if you want to feel like a 70s rally ace, or technically an 80s rally ace at this point, we're on the run out cars, this is the car. I love it because it's not perfect. So you've got a few little blebs here and there. There's a few little rust blebs on the bonnet. It's got a vinyl roof. You can just see it's just a few little blebs under the vinyl. You could either just enjoy this for what this is as a very presentable car and just improve it as you go. So you can see it's just had some paint work on the bumper. It's had little bits just starting to go on the door. It's a very, very savable car. There's a bit of surface corrosion on the rear quarter here. There's a little bit of paint work on the back. Like I say, guys, it's not a perfect car, but what it is a perfect basis for future restoration and incredibly entertaining in the meantime. I would just have this, enjoy it, knock the edges off it, improve it as you go. It will need a tiny bit of bodywork, but again, it's not going to be anything like the top of the market. These are a very expensive car now, but this one needing slight improvement, 23 to 25, and I've seen these in perfect condition for double that. So there you go, have a look inside. So of its time. There you go, an Avenger door has never looked so good, look at that. And these are a little bit of British rallying history. Do yourself a favour, if you are even slightly interested in this, Google Lotus Sunbeam Rally and look at all the old period works cars and how good they were, and more importantly, how good they sound. That's also how this car sounds. It's a bit of a thing. So the vinyl roof would have been a period option. Not many of the Avon cars had that, so you could take that off and go back to what it would have been. But those two-tone cars, really collectible, very rare, very desirable car. And there is a register, they all know the cars, they're all known, and that's 21 of 56. So do have a look at that. Great way to get yourself into a Lotus Sunbeam with all the right bits for not daft amounts of money. Don't need to describe what this is. You're ahead of me. Potentially my car of the sale, this. I would like to own this car very, very much. The 1984 Opel Kadett, not Vauxhall Astra. It's very important to stress the difference. And I love the fact that the owner has kept this car as an Opel Kadett. So this started off as a French Opel Kadett GTE. We obviously know this car in our country as the Astra GTE. I think it's much cooler as an Opel Kadett. I also think it's incredibly cool because it's got the Ermshire stripes on as well, which for me on any GM product makes it immensely cool. So why we like this one so much is it's a French, much more rust-free shell, manual, originally supplied to France, restored to a superb standard, and I would echo that. In 2020, we've had this on the ramp for weeks, and it's unbelievable underneath. So they've taken a right-hand drive Vauxhall Astra, swapped it all over into a mint left-hand drive shell. So it's got the original engine, it's a sunroof car. There's only 3 of these left. It's got the French service book. So the purists will say it wasn't a right-hand drive car, it's now a right-hand drive car. The realists would say you're getting a much, much better basis for restoration. There is no way, if you've ever seen how most of these survived as British cars, I would much rather have a French shell to build into. It's a much better basis. It's probably made a much nicer, more original car with a lot less welding into it. So a lot of history here, a lot of history here. And that will be 18 to 20. Now put that into the context of all the other really super desirable, super rare cars of this time. If that was a Ford, what would that be? If there was 3 of them left, if that was an RS product in that condition with a shell that nice, you'd be into the 30s or 40s. You could take that home for 18 to 20. I love it. I can't tell you how excited I am about this car. I hope if you buy this, please let me come and have a go, because I've always wanted one of these and I have never seen one as such a nice restoration. And here's Jimmy, just having a go on a Schwinn. He's just road testing. Have a look.
It works beautifully.
It does, look at that. He test drives every bike. If you put a bike into consign, we always make sure it rides properly. Now, are you Luton or are you Dagenham? Because whichever flavour you prefer, we have them here, and we have them in beautiful condition. Just as this is gorgeous and needs nothing, so is this 1982 Ford Fiesta XR2. Just gorgeous, guys. 23,000 miles, manual, original book pack, huge history file, and owned by an XR Owners Club member. Still got the sticker in the window. Lovely paint, lovely body, lovely trim, which you have to watch on these as well. The decals are correct. The interior is gorgeous. Come see. Just not rotten at all. All the right bits. Look at the state of the carpets. Look at the door cards. Look at the trim. And normally with these, they're either a little bit tired and needing something, or they're absolutely concours and they're just stupid money. And this is so nice. This is almost concours, this car. I'd have to say it's really, really clean, but we've estimated this. The owner's being very, very sensible with their reserve and estimate. So you could buy, I think, a lovely fast Ford. The XR2s are still kind of sensible money. The Super Sports have gone ridiculous. Again, look at the parcel shelf, something you always have to check on an old Fiesta. Look at the condition of that. Somebody has to spend all the money on this, guys. Made it beautiful. So it's got an estimate of 13 to 15, which when I look at the condition of the car, again, you couldn't restore one for twice that. Don't forget, a good Super Sport can be 30k. We sold one on the show for 27. So 13 to 15, it might go past that, to be honest, because it's so nice. I think if you are looking for one, do come and have a proper look at this and bring your mates from the club to have a look. If you're in the XR Owners Club, if you know fast Fords, you'll probably know this car. It's well documented, and everywhere I look, everything from panel fit to the quality of paint to the component choice they've used, it's pretty much spot on, guys. I'm really struggling to fault this car in any way. But yes, if you would like an XR2, an early one, in very nice condition, on pepper pots, in probably the best colour, that's your car. So there you go, 13 to 15. Bid on that and bid in confidence, my friends, because we've got provenance, we've got history, we've got a great ownership trail, and it really is a car that doesn't want much at all. Not at all. Right, moving on to this very lovely MGB. 1970 MGB Roadster, so really nice time for these. So these cars came out in 62, so you're 8 years into production, but you're before the rubber bumpers, so they really are at the top of their game. They're making what I think is probably the best of all the MGBs. Like I say, you're 8 years into production, they've got all the jobs sorted, but they're still that beautiful, pretty pre-facelift front. This one's done 64,000 miles. It's a manual with overdrive, which is exactly what you want. Chrome wires on it, had a bare metal respray in 2016 to the tune of £5.5 grand, and they did a good job, my friends. I always say it, give me an older respray. I don't ever want to see a freshly repainted car. I'd much rather see a car that's been in its paint for 6 or 7 years, because anything that's going to blister or bubble through is going to have come through by now. And this one hasn't. You always get this, you get a little bit of marking where the roof sits on the back, as you get that tiny bit of scuttle shake. So you've got a tiny bit of discoloration. I guarantee that will polish out. It runs on unleaded. It's got a high torque starter motor, which is always fun. It's got front disc, which is nice. It's got an interior refresh with this lovely black pipe leather as well. It's been used, that's the other thing. The owner has used this car, has done loads of miles with it. It's not a garage queen. This is a car that's been used, driven, enjoyed, despite the fabulous condition and despite the huge amount of work that's been put into it. It's had paintwork on the area connected to the MOT of £600 recently, and it's been all over France, all over Monaco, all over Spain. Just what a lovely thing. It's had the same owner for 29 years. I love that. Really nice car, guys. There's a lot of dross in the MG market. You have to be really careful with an MGB because there's so many of them. You know, buying a dog or buying an absolute peach, it's very easy. The line between them is not that clearly delineated. This is very much a peach, not a lemon, this one. So if you want a nice one, it's going to be not inexpensive, 7.5 to 8.5 grand. But if you look at the work, there's a 5.5 grand respray 6 or 7 years ago. What a great car. Hours of fun. And I can't stress this enough. I've just done a video actually on YouTube, on the Car and Classic channel, just talking about why the MG is such a good car. Because they're inexpensive, they're wonderful to drive, they make a great noise. If you're 6'4" like me, you can fit in them. And our friends at MGOC Spares, whatever part you order, you can have it tomorrow. So the epitome of a practical classic, and a real joy to own that. 7.5 to 8.5 grand. A little bit higher up the tree, this one, a beautiful Triumph GT6 Mark III. Now I can't stress enough, guys, this car has had a concours restoration. If you look under the bonnet, and I won't do it now because it will take too long, but if you're interested in this car, please come and inspect it. Every nut, bolt, spring, washer, clip has been renewed, re-galvanized. It's gorgeous. It is a show quality restoration, this one. It's done 71 miles since its restoration. So if you want to buy a car that is fresh out the shop, this car has covered 71 miles. Someone has spent, just, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they spent restoring this car. It will never come back, but that's just great news for the next person. Look at the wood, look at the leather. Just insane amounts of cash. Probably, I would say, a 40k restoration in terms of the paint and trim. You could buy that for 19 to 20. I think you'd struggle to find a better one. I think the colour's particularly nice, that baby blue. This actually belongs to our chairman. He is a man of discerning taste. He buys only the best, and he has spent all the money on that one. And the person that did it before him, who did the restoration, my word. A lot of bills. Please, as I say, if you're interested in that car, go through the paperwork. You'll be so delighted with the money that's been spent on it. And it bears close scrutiny. Just come and have a look, particularly underneath and everything that's under there. It's a little bit special, that one. This car, I cannot understand why this hasn't sold because it's such a good colour. 1983 Ford Escort RS 1600i. As we've said on the previous video, don't confuse this with the XR3i. They are very, very, very different fish. So yes, they're a 3-door Escort Mark III shell, but this was a true homologation car, and I think history will testament that in prices. So you've got the homologation rear wing, you've got the front splitter, you've got a very, very different engine with things like sodium filled exhaust valves. It's basically a detuned race engine there. And they're a little bit special. You've got the RS7 spokes. It's not a hot XR3i. This is something very different. Manual car, of course, in Caspian blue, which I adore. So some recent bodywork on it. It's had the interior recently retrimmed, and my word, they did a good job. I mean, the tautness of this fabric and bolstering, guys, I don't know if I can convey that. If you can just see how beautiful that feels. Always squeeze an old Ford bolster, and normally they feel baggy and saggy, and that feels like it's brand new. It feels like showroom. Original floor pans and sills, really nice on a set of Pirelli P1s as well. It's just had recent recommissioning at GS Escorts, including rear suspension, brake overhaul, stainless steel exhaust, so much stuff. Now, just to be cards on the table, guys, this was a Cat C insurance job. Now what that means is, and I did this on the show to try and explain this, there's a stigma around Cat C and Cat D. But what you have to remember is, that just means at a certain point in this car's history, probably when it was worth the least of its value, and the insurance company said it was uneconomical to repair using all new parts. And the crazy thing is, with some of these hot hatches, and we did a Peugeot 205 GTI on the show, it was for door locks. The car was written off because someone had punched through door locks, but the insurance company said by the time they'd replaced 2 door skins, it had been in the body shop for a week, they'd given you a hire car, it just wasn't worth it. So many cars of this era got written off for very low level things, and Cat C or Cat D really are the lowest level. So do bear that in mind when you bid, but because of that, because it's a Cat C, it's 17 to 19, whereas if that was completely normal, you'd be well into the 20s. So you'll get a bargain for a car that could be something very simple. So don't be discouraged by Cat C, but do bid bearing that in mind. Right, you shouldn't have a favourite child, you shouldn't have a favourite lot, but here's mine. Saab 99 GL. Is it the best car ever made? Quite possibly. I have 3 of these because they are just awesome, basically. What can I tell you about the Saab 99 GL? It's obviously the precursor of the Saab 900. So basically from this bit, from the A-pillar back to this bit, is what became the Saab 900. Designed in 1968 by the genius that is Sixten Sasson. I think it is a car that has aged beautifully. Now, they started in the late 60s. This is an early 80s car. This is a 1983, so we're getting towards the end of this model's life. But what a fabulous thing. They are, I just don't think they're just incredibly pretty, but I just think they are everything you want a classic car to be. Incredibly safe, incredibly tough, so well engineered, very usable, very practical. And this one's got some lovely stuff. Mega condition, they spent a fortune on it. It's had some paints. I love the little rear spoiler, that's very cute. It's also got one of the rarest wheels you'll ever find, the Super Inca. It should actually have a centre cap that goes over that. So if it was mine, I would get the centre caps and put that back to standard. It's got these amazing velour interiors. Just look at these doors, guys, look. Don't ever get your leg caught in a Saab 99 door. I've done it, it really hurts. But just look in there, matching Michelin's in there. What can I tell you? Lovely history file, going back many years, fresh MOT. The only thing this car is missing, guys, it's quite hard to find, but it's worth doing. There should be a little wheel arch trim that goes on there. The wheel arches are in lovely condition. So you get those wheel arch trims on, you will then have a perfect 99 GL. And I think the later cars are incredibly usable. I would say drive that for 10 months of the year. If you want a practical classic car that you can drive most of the year, or if you underseal it all of the year, because they're built for the Swedish climate. This is a lovely car. We've estimated at 5 to 6 grand. I'm delighted to say we've had a ton of interest. We've had quite a few commission bids on this already. They're just fabulous, absolutely fabulous cars. Bid on that with confidence. That will last all of us out, that one. Long after we've gone, that car will still be here and driving beautifully, no doubt. This is great. I do love a price range Porsche 911. This one is very cool. 2003, Porsche 911 996 Carrera 2, Cabriolet, 83,000 miles, Tiptronic, so it's a wafter. So this is the other end of what the 911 purist wants. The 911 purist wants a 997 manual coupe. This is a 996 convertible Tiptronic. So this is a cruiser. This is one to enjoy in the sunshine, wafting around. But because of that, because of the specification of the car, which I think is very pretty, you're going to get yourself a bit of a bargain here. Paintwork is very good, but just needs a bit of a correction. It's a tiny bit swirly in places. Long-term owner, lovely spec, roof's in great order as well. But these are starting to come up now, guys. That's the thing about these. The 996 has been sort of languishing as the bargain Porsche. Needs a headlight restoration, but that's 50 to 100 quid. We'll bring that back and just transform the front end of the car. But you could buy that for 12 to 14. It's had a lot of stuff done to it, a very nice history. It's a particularly nice colour combination, that as well. And all it needs, I would say, to make this a really nice car is just a little bit of detailing. It's a touch swirly on the back engine cover, but the paint is very good. So you've got enough there to paint correct, headlight restore, you'd have an absolute peach, wouldn't you? What a lovely car. 12 to 14 grand, and like I always say, buy your convertibles in the winter because it's cheaper than in the spring. And this one now, a 1971 Triumph Stag. There you go. 2 different ways of having soft down motoring. Soft down motoring? Soft top motoring. Top down, soft top. 98,000 miles this one. It's a manual, well maintained with sensible upgrades, correctly registered as a historic vehicle, so everything exempt, tax exempt, MOT exempt. It's got the factory hardtop as well, and it's just a nice level car. Great colour, it's got the correct alloys. Again, presents very well. Interior is very nice. Want to have a look in there? The wood is very good on this. There you go, just make sure that doesn't touch the Porsche. So it's had some nice bits and pieces, always garaged by the present owner, shows 98,000, which we think is correct on this. Mechanical upgrades include a 4-column high flow radiator, a Kenlay fan, which is a really good thing to have on these, because you don't ever sit in traffic worrying that you're going to overheat. This one won't. It's got a waterless coolant, which can be good. It's had a new clutch in 2022, and the carbs were overhauled in 2022. The seats are really good. So it's a nice car, this one, guys. It's not going to be absolute fortunes. People have spent lots of sensible money quite recently, which is always nice to see. And you could own that for 12 to 14 grand. A lot of fun to be had. Driving behind that V8, the lovely sound, and as I say, lots of money spent recently to make it drive beautifully. Now, effortless style, if you want a car that will look good wherever you take it and has a slight Poundland dictator vibe, it's got to be a Fintel Merc, hasn't it? I just think you'd struggle to get a car that is more impressive than the Fintel Merc. I just think they're an amazing bit of styling. I would like to own this car very much. 1968 car, 230S Fintel, with 46,000 miles from new. Probably the car you're driving to work has done more than 46,000 miles. Look at this, guys. Look at the interior. Look at the condition of this. I mean, Mercedes really were building cars to last at this point. I like this car very much because it is incredibly clean and very, very straight, but it's not perfect, it's not immaculate. This is a car you can use and enjoy. So if you look, there's slight tarnishing on the trims, nothing crazy, but just honest, exactly what it is. It's just living in its skin and it looks fabulous for it. So the paintwork, again, paintwork is very good, but not perfect. The chrome work is very good, but not perfect. So what does that mean? It's a car that you'll drive, you'll use it, you'll enjoy it, you'll put the kids in the back, you'll go on picnics, you'll have fun. What you'll never do, if you get a concours perfect car, I tell you now from experience, you never use them. Never take them out. This is, for me, the perfect condition to buy a car in. It's got 4 former keepers. We know that 46,000 miles is correct. Original spec. It's even got the original plastic on the sun visors. It was driven here 80 miles. It's got matching Michelins on. It's got the original registration. It's just absolutely lovely. What else has it got? Well, it's just going to be, I think, for what it is, a bit of a bargain. If you have 10 to 12,000 pounds sitting in your bank account, you could be the next owner of this car. And I struggle to think, including all the wonderful things in this sale room, of what you could buy for 10 to 12 grand, plus your commission. You've got to put your 15% on top. But name me a car. So you'd end up taking that home for 13, 14,000 pounds. And every time you drove it, you'd feel special. Every time you arrived somewhere, you'd be greeted like a lord or lady. Fabulous, fabulous thing. And I can't stress enough how well Mercedes were building cars at this point, the quality and the materials that they use. It's why they've lasted so well. It's why there's so many left. I say paintwork's lovely, not perfect. Chrome's lovely, not perfect. Interior is just mentally good. Really, really good. Yeah, interior needs nothing. But for me, for all of those reasons, it couldn't be better. If this was Concours, it would be in the 20s. It's just super presentable and you could buy it for 12 to 14. So that's all you need to know. So there you go, guys. That is the end of this very long first video. If you're still here, thank you. Hopefully you've had a break somewhere in between. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell, or even better, if you want to come see any of these cars in person, we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning for viewings, or even better, come along and bid on the day. I'll see you there.